What up? Welcome back. It is Bones, and today we're going to do a little topic video. Now, I do these every once in a while whenever there's something to talk about in the collecting community, and this time it's going to be on if it is possible that McFarlane could ever do Marvel figures. Now, this is a kind of crazy topic because I have actually been saying this under the radar for a while, and I know that this would be something that would blow the minds of a lot of Marvel fanboys, but there is some points that I do have, and there is a little bit of credence to the thought that McFarlane could ever make any Marvel figures. Now, of course, the biggest story going on right now is about the Marvel Legends HasLab Vengeance car. Now, it is a Ghost Rider character, but typically not the Ghost Rider that everybody knows. This is a newer character, and I have really been keeping my distance about talking about this, and that's basically because I don't collect Marvel. I don't care what Marvel does, and I'm really never interested in anything that they're producing. Basically because there's just nothing that interests me in the line. So that's basically why I have not spoken about it or made a video about it. You have a lot of people right now making videos and getting clicks, and then you have a lot of civil war going on between the Marvel Legends collectors, the influencers, and the just random shills that are trying to defend Hasbro, and then you have the ones that are just tired of it. Now, a couple of things I will say before we move on is that although I do not collect Marvel Legends, I do keep a little eye on them just to, know what's going on in the community. Now, I could go into the reasons I think that it's having trouble getting funded, but I rather steer away from that. I mean, it could be, you never know, the price of it, it's not, the value's not there. It could also be the character selection. I mean, it's the 50th anniversary of Ghost Rider, and they decided to go with a character that nobody really knows instead of going with Johnny Blaze, or the Ghost Rider that I remember most is Danny Ketch, of course. Awesome series that came out, Spirit of Vengeance. I actually used to have a lot of those comics. I still have some, but I don't have as many as I used to, but I always did like Ghost Rider. So this character is newer and less people know him. They also ostracize a lot of their foreign collectors because, when you get right down to it, this figure and the whole package is going to be $400. People still say $350, but after tax and shipping, you're looking at more like $400. And in the foreign markets, of course, that's going to be blown up to around $500. And the value is just not there for some people now. I live by the rule that if you don't like it, then you're not forced to buy it, and you could just move on. But there's other people that think you should back it just to support Hasbro and the HasLab. And in all reality, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with your money. So since I have no skin in the game, I just let people do what they will. But I did. It has been pretty interesting just sitting back and watching the two sides go after each other. That has been pretty hilarious, and it has also been very entertaining. I will say that. Now, since they did lose the early bird human form Robbie Reyes, you've been having a lot of drop numbers from the backers, and to me that's just a sign that it's not looking too good for this project. But it is what it is. I'm not involved in it, so good luck to everybody that wanted one. But there is something to note, and that is that for a couple of years now, Hasbro has been sticking it to their collectors with the price hikes, now with the windowless packaging, and of course, how I've stated before, the character selection was not a really smart choice. But there's tons of videos you guys could look up and, get your own ideas of what's going on. And in all actuality, even though I got away from Marvel Legends years ago, I stopped collecting them and I sold pretty much a lot of my Marvel Legends, got rid of almost all of them actually, and concentrated on DC. There was just that split in the road, and I decided to collect DC full time, and that's when I collected all of my DC Universe classics, the whole run. That was a pretty fun time. Before all of this craziness started going on, that there was just a really awesome time to be collecting action figures. But now we've moved on. I was always a big fan of actually Marvel Select. I just think that their sculpting and their detail is a lot better than Marvel Legends. And if I were to be collecting Marvel, I would be focusing on Marvel Select. Now, I think they are 7-inch scale. They're a bigger size, but they just produce less amount of figures compared to Marvel Legends. But it is without a doubt that their figures are a little bit classier than Marvel Legends. They just look better, and a lot of times come with dioramas and stuff like that. And this is where we segue into McFarlane, because you could think, like, how could McFarlane ever make Marvel figures if a lot of Marvel Legends collectors have basically been hating on McFarlane ever since he got the license? Now, a big part of this was because he went with 7-inch, and of course that really hurt Marvel Legends collectors because they collect 6-inch. So that was just a point that they don't like McFarlane, crap on the figures, even if they don't collect them or even know what they feel like in their hand or anything. And it just became a really bad situation, hating on McFarlane. And of course, I've had my run-ins with the Marvel fanboys. They come on here and tell me that whatever happens, McFarlane still sucks and Marvel Legends is the best. And I pretty much tell them to kick rocks, because if you come in here and try to tell me what to collect or what's good, you're just messing with the wrong person. I do not have time for stupidity, and I really could care less what they think. I collect what I like, and I allow them to collect what they like. And of course, I don't go looking for them and tell them that Marvel Legends is ripping them off. Hasbro has been giving them the same buck body molds for years, no detailed sculpt, 6-inch figures that look like baby toys, and I just keep all that to myself, right? So I know it would be really devastating to these fanboys if McFarlane ever made any Marvel figures. Now, Marvel Select is 7-inch, more detailed, so that could be like if McFarlane were to make a type of like offshoot of Marvel Legends, where they would be 7-inch and just more detailed, and have a different take, a more realistic take on the figures. Of course, a lot of people like their comic accurate Marvel Legends and their like painted on details. I don't know why they like that, but that's their prerogative. But it doesn't necessarily mean that McFarlane would be making Marvel Legends. I mean, it could happen. You never know. There's a lot of things I thought would never happen that have been happening in the recent years. But he could make a subline that isn't Marvel Legends, but that Disney gives him the rights to do it. Now you could think, why would Disney do this? If you haven't noticed, McFarlane has been having a relationship with Disney. He did the new Disney style characters that I've been seeing a lot in the aisles. Of course, now he's dropped his Avatar series, which looks like it's going to be a good seller. And if he happens to make money with Disney, they might, that might open it up to where there's talks of him making other figures. Because if we all know McFarlane, besides being a master troll and a business genius, he also loves his characters. Now, he would love to go back and make his own version of his Spider-Man based on his artwork. I know he would love to do that. Of course, he would love to do a Venom in his own design. That would be awesome. And of course, we've been seeing people make custom figures out of the McFarlane parts, but are actually Marvel figures. Like I did see a Wolverine and a Captain America and also a Nova that looked pretty awesome. You could tell the difference with these as all their details are sculpted in, and it just gives them more depth and more realism to them. So I mean, it looks good to me, but it is just a thought. Now whoever did these customs, I don't know who they are, but they did a really good job, and they show what it could be like if McFarlane were to do any type of Marvel figures. Now of course that would constitute a weakened Hasbro with the Marvel license, which would be drop sales, angry fans, and recent events doesn't really look good for them. If this HasLab doesn't fund, because all you see is the front guys, and I think you don't necessarily have to go after them, but you do have to go after the bosses at Hasbro. And of course, if anybody wants to attack McFarlane, they know where to go. They attack McFarlane because McFarlane is an open out there head of the company. But I do think McFarlane is like kind of cool. He's laid back and he doesn't let stuff bother him. So I would think that your efforts to bring him down would be really wasted. And if you do want to mess with him, like I said before, McFarlane, we've noticed recently, he's like a master troll. If you didn't notice, he just barely dropped that Batmobile Beast without the shell, but with the figure added for $50. And you could say what you want to about it, but it is a pretty good price if you didn't buy the first one. And I could see, a random consumer walking down the aisle with his kid and saying, hey, look at this, and picking it up. Because now you don't have that, really thin shell on it, and you could take it out into the dirt and let a kid go crazy with it. So McFarlane is really smart. He never does things just out of the blue. He always plans them. And, I think it was a real precise hit by McFarlane to release the Batmobile Beast at this point in time. And it's really hilarious just to sit back and watch everybody react to the things that are going on in the action figure community. But if I could give you any advice, these are just the ramblings of a madman. Keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.